question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said the first thing about taking a book as a proof for your belief. You said no internal contradictions. How well do you know this book? I got this from your friend the other day. It's the Bible for all of you who don't know. I don't know which version it is. I don't know who's writing, who decided what to put it in here. John, we'll read John 1:17, 18. Do you know this one? I'll read what it says here. It says, no one has ever seen God, but God is the one and only who is at the Father's side has made him known. Right here, it says, no one has ever seen God, okay? You believe that? You take that? You want to read it? That's your book. This is what you take.
You bet.
Right here, same chapter, John 5:19.
Right.
It says here, Jesus gave them this answer. I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing. No one sees, he only does what he sees. Internal contradiction. So then this book has internal contradictions. Can we agree on that? Oh, you don't say yes or no answers. What do you say about this internal contradiction?
One of the basic principles of interpreting any book is you have to read in context. And obviously, when you read John chapter 1, the main point is Jesus is God in human form. He begins. Ma'am, am I allowed to answer you or not?
But you're not making sense. You say the same
well,
thing.
then why are you wasting your time standing here talking to me if I'm not making sense?
Because look at all these people here who have questions.
Fine, then why don't you let me go on to other people? If I don't make sense, ma'am, why do you waste your time?
Why am I going to let you misguide them with your misguidance?
Oh, I see. So you have to sort of be a parasite who comes in here and just feeds off the people who are listening to me talk?
Absolutely, why not? You've already made a fool of yourself here anyways.
Why, that's pretty sad. Why can't you just be open and honest and have an honest dialogue?
I'll explain this.
Okay.
Explain this.
Thank you. John chapter 1. John begins with the words, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Crystal clearly, John 1:1 is stating the deity of Christ. The word there is Christ. The Greek word is logos. Obviously, by reading John 1, you know he's talking about Christ. Obviously, he's hearkening right back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, which says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. John is taking that and putting it in Greek. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Nobody has seen God. I haven't seen God. You haven't seen God. But the claim of John is, and the claim of Jesus is, that he is God, revealing himself in human form. That's clearly, unmistakably what John 1 is teaching. And you don't have to have a PhD in New Testament. Just read it yourself, and you'll figure that out.
It's both John. I didn't flip to even a different chapter. It's 2 pages away. Both John saying, one saying no one sees God, the other one saying Jesus sees God. Is it saying Jesus sees himself? Is this something that everyone who
Yes, that's exactly right. Jesus is claiming to be God, revealing himself in human form. That's his claim.
And he sees himself.
No, you're not God.
Why would John write that?
You're not God. What's the difference? Well, if you die and rise from the dead, I will listen very closely to everything you have to say.
Why is that the one thing that you take?
Did you see George Washington inaugurated first president of the United States?
Other people did. I trust that.
Good, and other people saw Christ die on a cross, and they saw him risen from the dead.
But they have internal contradictions.
No, there's no contradiction there. We human beings do not see God, but when God chose to become a human being in Jesus Christ, obviously Jesus knew the Father very, very intimately, very, very well. In the Quran, we read, Jesus is a good prophet, he is not God. The problem is the historical Jesus claimed to be God.
That could be an internal contradiction is on one page it says something, on a different page it says something else. Like the gentleman that left mentioned about the creation.
You're right.
Creation came
The
about.
Quran does not contradict itself, I agree. But it contradicts the historical evidence that Jesus claimed to be God.
Claim. From what, John and Joseph and Mike and whoever.
That's right, man. And that's the only thing. That's the only way I can know anything historically. Historical knowledge is based on the trustworthiness of eyewitness testimony.
So then, why take what John and those people said 500 years before what Muhammad came?
That's exactly why I trust John. Because he lived with Jesus. Muhammad was the dude who never met Jesus. John met Jesus, listened to Jesus.
But doesn't it come with time that things like that become more inaccurate? Jesus' book isn't here. Jesus' book is not here.
Yes, the Gospels
The
of
same
Matthew,
way.
Mark, Luke, and John
The
were
same-
written in the first century.
Okay, Moses' book, the
Eyewitnesses.
Torah.
That's what I want when it comes to historical
Moses' book,
knowledge.
the Torah, right? Did Jesus believe in the Torah? Did Jesus follow Moses?
Yes, Jesus believed the Torah was the Word of God, very
So
clearly.
then why do you accept Jesus as a successor of Moses and you don't accept Muhammad as a successor of Jesus?
Because Muhammad contradicted Jesus.
But you don't have any way to tell whether or not what Jesus came with is the exact same as what Moses came with, because the book Moses came with is not the same today as it was at the time. Can you agree with me on that?
No, that made no sense
Yes,
to me.
of
I'm
course
sorry,
it
I'm not
did.
smart enough to figure out
Of
what you
course
just
it
said
did.
there. Makes no sense to me.
Okay,
What
do
on earth did
right
you just
now,
say?
Right now, the book that Moses came with.
Yes?
Do you agree Jesus
He didn't
memorized?
come with anything. He wrote something.
He didn't write anything. It was revealed to him.
Baloney. Moses wrote. No book floated out of
So
heaven
then
to
what
Moses.
makes him a prophet?
Moses wrote.
What makes him a prophet? The fact that he was a self-claimed prophet? He was a good writer? There's plenty of good writers. That doesn't make them prophets.
Goodness gracious, man. No way.
What
Do
is
I
your
accept this
definition
kind
of a prophet?
of floating out of heaven
What?
book that you do?
No one's saying it's floating out of heaven.
Well, then what are you saying?
Revealed through angels. Do you believe
Moses
in angels?
wrote. No, an angel didn't write the Torah.
No one said
Moses
an angel
wrote it.
No
Wrote it,
one
not
said
an angel.
wrote it.
And no angel wrote the New Testament either. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, James wrote the New Testament.
So what makes someone a prophet? And not a random great writer?
What makes someone a prophet is that God inspires them. And there's absolutely no way that I can show you who a prophet is. If this guy claims to be a prophet, I can't just blindly say, yes, he's a prophet, or no, he's not a prophet. I have to observe how he lives his life. I have to listen to what he believes.
So again, we'll talk about what makes someone a prophet. Your definition of a prophet, and I'll follow with mine. You said a good writer.
No, I didn't.
But again, so we're
A
all on the
prophet
same
is
page.
someone who's inspired by God. But I can't show you that someone's inspired by God. It's impossible.
So this is something in your own heart.
I can't show you that a book is inspired by God. And don't you understand? That's why it's so hard for you and me to have
It
an
is.
intelligent conversation.
Okay.
Because you just lapsed into,
Can I answer your-
this
can
is
I
inspired
answer-
by God,
can I
this is
answer-
from God, this is from an angel. Well,
listen.
fine, but there's no way you can show that.
Okay, you're here right now. The purpose of you coming here is to quote unquote guide misguided people. I talked to the people who brought you and they said your point is not to convert people to Christianity. Your point is to get atheists and agnostics to believe in Jesus.
No, and
Yeah.
you, I pray you'll come to believe in
yeah.
Jesus,
I
man.
believe in Jesus. I don't
You
believe in
reject him
Jesus
as
how
God.
do.
You don't accept his death on
I
the
believe
cross
in
for your
Jesus.
sin.
Okay, but we'll stop. We'll go here. You're here to take people to believe in Jesus. But you just said right now that you can't explain to someone that a book is inspired by God or someone else is inspired by God. So why are you here?
There is absolutely no way that any human being can prove that any book has been inspired by God.
Then why are you here to tell us to believe in the Bible?
Because I am convinced that to believe in God and to believe in Jesus does not mean you have to first believe that a book is inspired by God.
So I'm supposed
You
to take
cannot
you
blindly
as the
believe
reference
anything
between
in
me
life.
and Jesus?
And to blindly believe that the Quran or the Bible or any book has been inspired by God is such a leap of faith. I'm not asking anybody to do that.
Okay, so can we have the second part of our deal? I said I'd explain to you what a prophet is?
Sure.
A prophet is someone who comes with something extraordinary that combats everything at the time in proof of his claim. So many people came claiming they were prophets, and they did things that didn't prove their claim. The prophet came, Prophet Muhammad, first of all, we'll start off with Jesus, who we both agree with. Jesus was born without a father.
How do you know that?
Miracle number one.
How do you know that?
Revealed in the Quran, and when he spoke.
Revealed in the
No,
Quran
no.
500 years after
Listen,
the
when
fact.
he spoke-
All of a sudden, because some dude says he was born without a father, you believe it?
Okay, fine. You don't believe that Jesus was born without a father. You don't.
I can promise you, ma'am, I'm not going to believe Jesus was born without a father because some dude who lived 500 years after Christ writes it in a book.
Okay, so then we'll stop right there. Forget everything about Muhammad. Do Christians believe that Jesus was born without a father?
Yeah, but not because some dude 500 years after the fact wrote it, that's for sure.
But then what do they take as their belief for Jesus being born without a
Because
father?
eyewitnesses who knew Jesus' mother, a woman named Mary, talked with her. They talked with Joseph, and they found out that indeed Mary was a virgin when Jesus was born.
So then we take
It's not something they made up 500 years later.
Okay, so then
It's something that they found from eyewitness talking.
So do we take that? We take Jesus being born without a father as a miracle. That's proof
Yes.
he's a prophet. That's proof he's a prophet, correct?
No.
Why?
Just
Why?
because a miracle happens doesn't mean the dude's a prophet.
Why?
He could be a false prophet.
So then why
Miracles
don't you,
happen to
why
false
doesn't your mom
prophets.
have a son without a father? What miracles happen to false prophets? We'll go over that right now. What miracles happen to false prophets?
Man, if you get in the occult, you can go to seances, and demonic powers are shown, supernatural powers are shown. You can go a lot of places on this planet.
How are they shown? How are they shown?
How are they shown?
Yeah, how are they shown? Like,
All right,
how,
I'll tell you.
factually.
You
How
bet.
can you show it in substance?
You bet.
No, answer.
I went to a
Not
prep
just-
school.
No, answer.
I am answering you.
Come on.
I went
Where
to a
can you
prep
find it
school
factually, though?
here in Connecticut, and I had a philosophy professor who went to a seance. And at the seance, the medium told him things about his past that it took him 2 weeks to remember had even occurred. This philosophy professor came
And
to our
psychologists
class.
have done that too with sexual abuse cases where they convince their clients of a history that never happened. So how do you know that's not the case? How can you prove that it's true?
You got to use your brain to figure out what
Okay,
might
so
be
then that
irrational
means
or rational.
that's on the premise that you're using your brain.
Yeah, that is on a premise.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Why are you wasting your time listening to a guy who's just gibbering?
You're in our way.
You're missing the
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that your ankle had a chain tied to the brick underneath
I'll
there.
answer that question.
I was under the impression that you chose to be here freely.
He did choose to be
Let me
here.
relieve you if you're being forced to be here.
No, I'm not. I'm enjoying your
All right.
company.
But listen,
Good.
my
Thank
problem
you.
here, is you're here talking loudly, first of all. You're not having a small conversation with the group that brought you here in a small room, which most groups have. You're obnoxiously on the center of campus,
Yeah.
misguiding people about your belief in
Baloney. And I'm exercising my right of free speech. And if I tried to stand up in Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan and do what I'm doing now, I'd be in prison before I knew what
And
my
it's a great
name
thing I'm
was.
an American citizen and born
Okay.
on this soil.
Good.
Great thing, isn't it?
All right.
Now, what do you take that as right there? As blindly naming Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan?
Blindly?
Just
I'm
these
not
scarf
blindly
on
at
my
all.
head. That's ignorant. That's an ignorant move on your part. Because I have no correlation with Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan.
I didn't say you did.
Then why bring it up?
I'll tell you why.
Random countries?
Because you
You can't do
two were
this in South
challenging
Korea
God.
or
No,
Japan.
no, every
I'm
time I
not
try and answer you, you
irrational.
cut me off.
I'm not irrational.
Yes, you are. You don't really want to reason and think.
Because
you
you're
just
not
want to
a
emote.
person to reason. I'm not emotional.
Oh, no?
I'm not
Oh,
emotional.
give me a break. You were challenging free speech. He said I was in his way.
No, I wasn't challenging. I was using my own free speech to question yours.
Oh, you can do
That
that all
is
day
part of
long.
free
I respect
speech.
that.
So then,
That's not-
And my point is, free speech
I was making
is a
an
right
argument,
that we
though.
have in the United States of America.
Correct. And
That
in the
I
United
celebrate.
States, you look crazy right now.
Pardon?
Hold on
You
one
look
second.
crazy in the United States, and if you went to Iran or Iraq, you look crazy there as well. You
So hold on.
Well, then
What's
why
your
are you
purpose
wasting
here?
your time
What's
talking
your
to a crazy
purpose?
man?
Because you are just, it's just entertaining.
Entertaining?
What's your purpose here? Why are
Because
you
they had
here?
better entertainment on this campus than to talk to a
Have
crazy
you been to stores? Have you been to stores?
You guys are hurting people.
Why are you here? What did you come
I am here to introduce people to the closest friend I have, Jesus Christ.